Rapper Hussles' death caps a notably violent week in Los Angeles, with 26 sh00tings, 10 homicides EA. By Noah Smith and Eli Rosenberg, The Washington Post. Los Angeles Nipsey Hussle's memorial had the flowers, messages of love and the votive candles lined in tribute. Emotional mourners. Los Angeles officials recently touted the city's declining annual homicide rate that last year fell below 260 for the first time since 2014. But Sunday's shooting, in the hours after the shooting, in which 2 others were injured, Los Angeles Police Chief Michelle Moore said that in the preceding week, there had been 26 other shooting victims and 10 killings in what he called a troubling surge of violence. That's 36 families left picking up the pieces, Moore wrote on Twitter. We will work aggressive. The first homicide in the streak occurred March 27 around 4 p.m., when a woman was shot several times in Limerick Park, police said. A few hours later, a 22-year-old man was killed in Watts when 2 people pulled up to the car he was in and began shooting. Soon thereafter, on March 28 around 9:45 a.m., a 40-year-old man was fatally shot in Watts when a suspect drove by his car and shot him. That night, too, the next day about 11 p.m., a 26-year-old man was killed near West Olympic Boulevard and Fedora Street after an argument with 3 suspects, police said. And on March 31 around 12:30 a.m., a man died from a stab wound on the 400 block of East Lancet Avenue. The 10th death was, aside from the Montes brothers. The LAPD declined to identify the victims when providing information to The Washington Post. Hussle, 33, was shot in his head and chest around 3:25 p.m. PDT Sunday. Instead, Monday was marked by hundreds of friends, fans, and neighbors who gathered to memorialize him outside his store. Bass rumbled from, many recounted how the tall rapper, who had remained a presence there despite his success, affected them. Melody Barrow, devastated, she said. He's always in the. She said the perception of safety and security that Los Angeles had projected was not a reality in the community around Crenshaw, the neighborhood in which Hussle's store is located. You gotta fend for yourself in this part of the area of the city because there are always drive-by shootings, there's always shootings and things like that, she said, and pointed out a spot across the street where she said a taco truck had been robbed several times. Despite what the chief called a surge in violence, homicides in Los Angeles this year are lower to date than in 2018. According to the most, Charis Kubrin, a professor of criminology law and society at the University of California at Irvine, said that Los Angeles deserved credit for its falling violent crime rates in recent years, but that the crime picture was more complicated on a local level than the citywide decrease that officials like to point to. He was getting ready to talk to police about gang violence, she said. So that to me the View Park Windsor Hills area where Hussle was killed ranks somewhere in the middle of Los Angeles neighborhoods for its violent crime rate over the last 6 months, according to the Los Angeles Times crime database. But Hussle had set himself apart from that world, people at his memorial said. He was buying property, he was supporting the community, said Morel Green, 42, a community activist in the neighborhood. So many celebrities. Hussle had been open about his affiliation with gangs when he was younger in interviews, but he had worked publicly in recent years in more positive ways in South Los Angeles. He said he opened a co-working space to call attention to the lack of diversity in the worlds of science, math, and technology in the area last year, telling the Los Angeles Times that he was looking for somebody new, not to give me anything new but somebody that cared when he was a child. Though rap as a genre has expanded far beyond its streetwise roots, it still connects with that life. Hussle channeled it. Ruth Tech Lee said she knew Hussle from the Eritrean community in Los Angeles. Hussle was at her wedding. He was a good boy, Tech Lee said, citing Hussle's visit to Eritrea last year, when the rapper met with Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki and sat for an interview that was published by its Ministry of Information. It's so sad for, he spoke eloquently to the Ministry of Information about how much gang culture pervaded life in certain neighborhoods in Los Angeles. If you come from areas in which gang activities are common, then that becomes part of who you are. You encounter it as a natural part of life. I guess the equivalent. Virgil Grant, 51, an activist, policy writer and entrepreneur, said he had known Hussle for years, since before he started rapping. He compared Hussle, "It's heartbreaking. I knew what he stood, he was really a role model for people in the community," he said. He was saying, UU Rosenberg reported from Washington. Get Morning Report and other email newsletters.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.